White people attempting to rebrand white rage by co-opting the term black fatigue as though it's a phenomenon they actually experience but only recently found the language to talk about is both dystopianly weird and tragically on brand. The copying, the whitewashing, the centering themselves by playing victim. But what's ironically telling about it is that the concept of racial battle fatigue is not new. It's been around for decades, and the term black fatigue has been used by black people for quite a while. Mary Frances Winters wrote a book that came out in 2020 titled Black Fatigue, and it describes the mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion that black people experience because of systemic racism. Now, notice how black people didn't call that white fatigue, because the purpose is not to assign blame in order to justify bad behavior. It is called black fatigue because it is a harm that black people experience, and so their focus is on addressing and combating that harm. Whereas when white people talk about experiencing black fatigue, they are not talking about a harm that they experience because of black people or anybody else. They are literally telling on their own inability to live in society with black people. And that's not new either. That's a pathology that has existed for hundreds of years, but call it what it is. White rage.
Black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did, so what are you gonna do, cancel me? Black people are much easier to be able to say that black individuals, despite being 13% of the American population, commit 55% of the murders. Most white people say that at a job, they would get fired for being a racist. I don't care because I say whatever I want.
Let me pause right there. You see this is not just an internet drama or some random back and forth online. What you are watching is a real-time classroom. Black folks are dropping facts, setting boundaries, and refusing to be gaslighted by the system that has spent centuries trying to flip the truth. Now, I already know that some folks are gonna say that this is just playing race card, but let's be real. This ain't a game. This is a lived experience. So let's break it down. Let's talk about where this energy comes from and where the frustration is rooted and why more and more black folks are done explaining and just telling the truth. If you are a black American, you know this feeling, being tired, being blamed, being watched, being misunderstood. But more importantly, you know that silence has never saved you. Let's unpack it. I have put together a bunch of clips of many people, including black folks and white folks, talking about this issue of how white folks are trying to gaslight black folks about this issue of black fatigue. And I want us to watch them together, and then at the end, I will come back and break it all down for you guys to understand what's going on. Stick around.
I truly hate giving these white supremacists any type of airtime, but this guy here is really getting on my nerves, this Charlie Kirk dude, so I have to give him a clapback for this video he posted.
Black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot. For example, black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did, so what are you gonna do, cancel me? Black people are much easier to be able to say that black individuals, despite being 13% of the American population, commit 55% of the murders. Most white people say that at a job, they would get fired for being a racist. I don't care because I say whatever I want.
Oh, bless your little colonizer heart. You really climbed on the internet and opened your pale mouth and decided to rewrite history in real time like the rest of us haven't been wide awake. The audacity to claim black people have more intellectual freedom while simultaneously gaslighting the entire globe into believing your fragility is under attack. Now that's rich. Irony is so thick, and it might as well pay for reparations. But I'm going to reveal the lie and hypocrisy behind the Olympics that you just won the new gold medalist for. You say black people can talk about black issues, but white people can't. Well, sweetheart, when y'all own CNN, Fox, Time Magazine, Hollywood, Disney, and the banks, and every Ivy League endowment, maybe, just maybe, you can sit out for just one conversation. And while you're pretending to be gagged, your people are in every boardroom, courtroom, war room, media room, pushing propaganda like it's your birthright. If you're so silent, how come the world speaks your language, worships your whiteness, and mimics your mediocrity in music, fashion, and culture? But I'm gonna drop those receipts, the historical Holocaust y'all don't want us to talk about. Let's get into these statistics since you love to throw out black crime rates around like white folks aren't the original terrorists. Let's talk about genocide. 100+ million indigenous people globally via colonization. And how about slavery? Over 12 million Africans stolen, tortured, sold as properties, built your banks, White House, legacy wealth. And what about these serial So you don't want to talk about that, because statistically over 76% of serial are in the US are white. And how about school shooters? Yeah, those white boys, it's about 90% of them were school shooters, right? Oh, and let's not forget global extinction. Yeah, nearly every animal now endangered or extinct, white-led colonizers hunted for sport, fashion, and science. Yeah. And what about environmental destruction? You bulldozed the whole rainforests of this world, dumped oil in oceans, and then said climate change like it was a mystery. And let's not forget, you poisoned your own Europeans during the bubonic plague because y'all didn't believe in using soap. So before you speak on crime statistics, check the colonial body count. Yeah, I want to talk about this irony though. You all want to parent us now? You want to talk to us and talk down to us? You say black folks need to get their act together? Sir, y'all are the original baby's daddies.
White people have co-opted the word black fatigue to mask racism and say racist and prejudiced tropes about us online. I figured I'd make a video to describe my white fatigue, my white malaise, my white exhaustion. FYP shows you what you're looking for. So if you're saying you're opening TikTok and all you're seeing is brawls and fights of black people, look within. Because why are you searching for us? Why are you monitoring us? You guys have the biggest monitoring spirits of life. If you're so tired of us, just leave us alone. I'm tired of white criminals. White people commit 70% of the crimes and arrests in this country. No such thing as black on black crime. You guys created that to continue to paint us as savages. Meanwhile, you guys are the ones committing all the crime. I'm tired of kids not being safe in school because people are being shot by white boys and girls in school. I'm tired of mass shootings in public places. I'm tired of bombers blowing up braces, blowing up buildings. White people killing people. I'm tired of white serial killers. I'm tired of you guys praising white serial killers and then glorifying them by making movies and TV shows. White men committing crime and not going to jail. Stealing money from people's grandparents and stealing money from citizens, and then you give them more and more. I'm tired of you guys causing the conditions for people not to be developed around the world or undeveloped and then label them as third world countries, second world countries, and then blame them for the reason that they're not developed, even though you're the reason they're not developed. I'm tired of being exposed to food that's been seasoned with air and imagination because these cows and chickens didn't have to die for no reason. I'm tired of Karens not minding their own business, and then when confronted about the business they didn't mind, then they have white tears, which then cause harm to white bodies, which then predicates police brutality, which you guys are the ones that perpetrate. So I'm tired of the fact that your grandparents and your great-grandparents caused the conditions for black people to live in ghettos, black people not to own homes, black people not to have access to education, access to funds and programs, and then blame us for living in the ghetto, and then blame us for the violence that we are subject to, and then blame us for the conditions that we live in. Wow. Story after story of teachers having inappropriate relationships with their teenage students. Tired of the white hoods and KKK and the neo-Nazis, some which just got attacked in Ohio because they felt entitled to be openly racist. Really confused and tired about those rock concerts where you guys go ahead and beat each other up, but we're savages. Very savage, uncouth ghetto behavior. Beating each other up for fun at concerts. Tired of the opioid crisis. I'm tired of white middle-class men who are criminals, who all they care about is the bottom line, and they willingly put drugs into the system which kill kids and which kill college students. Wow. I'm tired of seeing overweight people in my 600-pound life not doing anything with themselves and living off the government. I'm tired of white people being the largest recipients of welfare in this country and DEI programs. I'm tired of the history that you guys created in this country, to the point where my parents are the first people in my family that integrated schools. My parents are the first people in my family that had full rights. Not even my mother. Sorry, my dad was maybe. And you guys acting like it's not real. That's what I'm tired of. Have a beautiful day, white folk.
raping our women, selling our families, and now you're confused about single mothers? Your wives were sipping tea while your children suckled on the breast of black nannies. Did you forget? That's the origin of your wet nurse economy. You stole our families and then had the nerve to blame us for the fracture. That's like robbing a man and breaking his legs and then calling him lazy for limping. And don't come for our music, our art, and our soul. You manufactured the whole hedonism and handed the record deals to those willing to sell their souls for the culture you corrupted. Yeah, you say our rappers don't challenge the rot? You own the labels, genius. But I'm gonna connect those dots from the plantation to the Pentagon, baby. See, it wasn't just slavery. It was the war on drugs, the FBI's COINTELPRO, the Tuskegee experiment, redlining, predatory loans, prison labor, Black Wall Street bombings, and forced sterilization. Oh, did you forget that? You all orchestrated the problem, blamed the victim, and then handed out band-aids and made that BS, okay? Even your DEI talking points are laughable. White women are the primary beneficiaries of affirmative actions. Did you hear that right? You parade black faces for photo shoots, the poster child, while your HR departments remain whiter than sour cream. We see it. But here's the uncomfortable truth, sweetie. We are the blueprint, not the afterthought. We are not just black. We are the descendants of the tribe of Judah, the royal priesthood you've tried to erase. And you know this, which is why your scientists study our DNA, your historians bury our truth, and your politicians silences our speech. You envy our melanin, our rhythm, our brilliance, so you commodify, crucify, and then cosplay it on TikTok. But guess what? You can't colonize the spirit, baby. Here's the inevitable reckoning truth, and the truth don't die, it rises. So here we are, sifting through your smoke screens, unearthing your stolen stories, and refusing to play nice with lies. You're not silenced, so stop it. You're sobered, and that sobering truth is this. You can't cancel us when we are the original signal, the source of the frequency, the soil from which God made humanity. You call us victims, but we are the verdict, and the jury is back. Your father is the father of all lies, but our father, he is the truth that exposes every single one. I need you to kindly exit stage left because your time on the mic is up.
Yelling into the void. So there's something I've been suffering from since about 2015. I like to call it white fatigue. Yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with your petty prejudices. I'm exhausted with your casual racism. I'm exhausted with your complete lack of self-awareness. I'm exhausted with your misplaced superiority. I'm exhausted with you thinking you're not the problem. I am exhausted with your fear of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because it is a fear. It's not normal to be afraid of those things. It's something you've been taught. I am sick of your pearl clutching about trans and LGBTQ people and how you're going to explain that to your children. I am sick of your pious version of prosperity Christianity, where because you believe a certain way or read a certain book, that somehow you are deserving of all that is good in the universe. And that's why you have everything that's good in the universe, not because of systems that are put in place to benefit you. Yeah. I am sick of you telling me about the vacations that you go on where you either stay on a super controlled resort or a cruise ship and then tell me you went someplace. You didn't. You changed locations, but you didn't actually go on a vacation unless you interacted with local people and tried to learn something about the culture. I am sick of you assuming incorrectly that the way someone speaks, that their dialect or accent determines their intelligence, because I assure you it does not, especially in the case of Black Americans. I am sick of your upholding white supremacy. I am sick of 90% of everything that white people do. I am sick of people making excuses for their bad behavior. I am sick of it. Really freaking sick of it. And that is why my circle is super small and I don't try to engage, because what's the point? What's the point? These people are beyond help and they give me fatigue, downright exhaustion. You're on my last nerve. That's my rant. Bye for now.
White fatigue. It's a real thing. No matter how we try to escape it, everywhere we turn, there you are. We can hear you, mouth breathers, 5 hours away in Walmart with your inbred brood, screaming for more candy while you tug at them with that dog leash. It's exhausting to listen to you whine about how you're discriminated against because you're white and how the country ain't like it used to be. If you don't like it here, go back to where you came from, baby. We're sick of listening to this ghetto mentality of how much you have to work to get hired at a job, how so many Negroes keep getting into schools that your mediocre white grades don't. You're uneducated and white. How? You had a 400-year head start, yet you let our women, black women, exceed you in education, and now you want us to let you in just because? Pull yourself up from your bootstraps and keep your head in those books instead of in black people's business. Every time we turn around, you want to know what we're doing. Do we belong here? Why are you dancing? Who and why did you vote? Why are you so happy? Why do you laugh like that? Is she black? Is she Indian? Why do you like watermelon and fried chicken so much? What's black girl magic? Can you come to the cookout? What time was it when Usher was cruising the streets? None of your business. Don't you got a Klan rally to plan or something? Your underachieving is a detriment to this nation. Look at your pick for president. You chose a criminal, and he's fucking everything up, and now you want black people to come together to help you fix what you broke. What kind of lazy, ghetto, fabulous mindset is that? Stop asking black people for our labor without compensation. We're tired of you placing yourselves as a representative of God, meanwhile acting like the other guy. You refuse to take accountability for your violent men and women. You'll raise millions of dollars for a degenerate woman who called her child the N-word, but get mad when black people do it for Carmelo Anthony. Stop thinking you're better. White supremacy. I don't know what the fuck that means, nor do I see the hype, what the hype is about you people. Like on real, you're mid at best. Well, except for Eminem and Andrew Lincoln, a.k.a. Rick Grimes. They're pretty exceptional. But the rest of you racist Paler Locklears, I'm not impressed. You're violent, racist, greedy, spoiled children who was handed everything. And just like a spoiled brat, you gave it all away. And now instead of taking accountability for your ghetto uneducated behaviors, you blame everyone but yourselves. You're scared of everything. Even women having a choice or a man with tits. You lie all of the time and you weaponize your whiteness to get an advantage, and when it doesn't work, you throw a tantrum and shoot up a bunch of people. We can't trust you to do some of the most remedial tasks without it turning into a disaster. I mean, look at how you each other over in this last election. You can't even admit when you see a genocide, but we're supposed to respect your whiteness? Why fatigue has been around since been pimping. We're just exhausted. I just want you to leave us alone from here on out.
Hey, this message is to all the racist bigots out there who are claiming black fatigue. What's really going on is white fatigue, okay? We are sick and tired of listening to you tell stories about your Uncle Cletus McCracken. Okay, Stacy, we're sick and tired of you weaponizing your Bible, okay? Your family tree that's in the shape of a wreath. Okay, Susan, we're really tired of hearing you spew gospel and Bible verses and all this other shit and turning around and delighting in the discomfort and misfortune of the people being harmed by this crime syndicate regime. Okay, we're sick and tired of you guys claiming to be patriots, but your brand of patriotism doesn't abide the Constitution. You are the antithesis of patriotic. Okay? We're sick and tired of hearing about it, John. About your black fatigue. When really what's going on is that you need to go to therapy. And you need to unpack the patriarchal, authoritarian religion that you've been indoctrinated into, and also unpack your white supremacy culture and your racism. Okay? You're a bigot and a misogynist. And we're fatigued from that. We are fatigued from hearing about the unhealed white people all over this country who aren't doing their work. And if you don't know what the work is, then you're not doing it. The work is your personal work. Your house is a mess, okay? And it needs to be exorcised like an exorcism because it's full of evil shit and hatred. And you're bringing down the vibe. We're fatigued from the likes of you, Stacy. That's the fatigue. Get to work. You got a lot of fucking work to do, okay? Have a great day.
Here are 50 things that have given me white fatigue. And the list could go on, but here are just 50. Karens calling the police on black people for just existing, mass shooters being described as troubled young men, cultural appropriation without any appreciation, white people in locks talking about spirituality, all lives matter, I don't see color, white creators becoming famous for watered down versions of black culture, profiting off of black trauma on social media, weaponizing white tears, white savior complexes in real life and movies. I have a black friend as a get out of racism free card, white teachers punishing black students for being disruptive, gentrification marked as urban revitalization, being followed in grocery stores like you don't belong, police called because someone looks suspicious, white led DEI training with no actual change, white people going viral for dances black people made, why is it always about race with you, the obsession with controlling black hair, the criminalization of AAVE in schools and work, centering whiteness in conversations that aren't about them, singing the N-word because it's just a lyric, the legacy of colonization and pretending it's ancient history, slavery being taught as a necessary evil, internment camps being brushed over in history class, the Trail of Tears being summarized in a paragraph, mass incarceration of black and brown people, Confederate flags being called heritage, get over it was a long time ago, white people crying in HR and getting people fired, white tears when equity feels like a loss of power, denying white privilege when benefiting from it, whitewash media stories, white-run nonprofits helping black communities while not listening, demanding emotional labor while doing none themselves, wearing blackface as a joke, screaming reverse racism like it's real, appropriating AAVE, using it wrong, watching black playing like it's a Netflix genre, MLK quotes using to shame black protests, demanding calm from oppressed people while being violent, policing tone instead of hearing truth, stolen land turned into suburbs and golf courses, white men running diversity campaigns, asking can I touch your hair like it's normal, white people calling things ghetto while profiting from the aesthetic, voting for oppression and acting shocked by the results when everyone fucking told you so, posting black squares thinking that that's activism. Not all white people.
White people are using black fatigue to be racist online. I put out 3 videos describing my white fatigue, and then I said I was going to be done. But you guys just can't leave me alone. And since you're so fatigued, be fatigued enough to get off my page. and stay out of our business, but you can't even do that, can you? The best thing about the responses of this video is that everything you're saying is a projection. You want to talk about people who glorify criminals? Let's talk about how there's over 133 film documentaries and shows fawning over white serial killers, mass murderers, and men who commit SA. How many white criminals have fan clubs? Tired of the privilege you have to come online and say you're tired of us when majority of white people don't live within proximity of black people. Ergo, you're looking for us or you're not minding your business. Just leave us the fuck alone. Repackaging things minorities make and saying you discovered it like Columbus. Mexicans with agua fresca, calling it spa water. Cornrows as the Kardashian braids. Sticky bangs as edges. Black moisturizing, what my grandma told me to do, as slugging. Using and co-opting our lingo like fuck around and find out. Dead ass, mind you, all while trying to label it Gen Z TikTok lingo. Creating the condition for an entire generation of black kids without fathers by creating the war on drugs, by pumping drugs into the communities and then heavily policing black men, all whilst giving white men lesser charges for the same crimes. Me and my first cousins being the first people on my mom's side of the family to be born with full rights in this country because they're a woman, and my mom was born when segregation ended. But because she's a woman, she didn't have rights in this country. Recruiting women and children into cults and then making them harm themselves. The media holding one black or brown person responsible for the entire group, but a white boy being able to be a lone wolf or very smart or kept to himself after committing a mass shooting or essaying a woman. Your grandfathers received assistance after the war. They received government assistance after the war to buy homes, which created in mass the current day white middle class. At the same time, that same GI Bill wasn't available to black veterans because why? Racism. And what did that prevent? That prevent black veterans from buying homes, having access to healthcare, having access to education, having access to employment, which further put black people where? In the ghetto. Wearing native costumes and wearing blackface, and then when you get caught doing it, you say, oh, it was just a fun little costume. Painting all black people as criminals when white on white crime is the highest amount of crime committed in this country. Walking around in public like you own the sidewalk and that you are the police and able to police people's actions. Newsflash, you're not the managers of the world. Looking at us and saying, go back to where you came from when my ancestors have been here longer than your Swedish or German ancestors were even a thought. Karens with bobs, actively seeking out victimization from black and brown people when we mind our business. White people being the highest users of pressed pills, cocaine, powders, shrooms, heroin, crack, but then we are the ones that get associated with said behavior. Middle-aged men designing drugs and pumping drugs into systems, into middle-class neighborhoods, into lower-class neighborhoods, into high-class neighborhoods, causing and perpetuating the opioid crisis that we're currently going through. White men producing 75% of the content that floats around the world that includes underage children. Lastly, white people in this country being the biggest narcissists with the highest rates of cognitive dissonance to ignore your history and ignore the conditions that you created for us to be who we are, for Latinos to be who they are, for Asians to be who they are, for brown people to be who they are, for gay people to be who they are, for trans people to be who they are, and then blame us for it. So once again, if you're so tired of me and my people, stay the fuck out of my comments and stay away from me. Have the day you deserve. Stay blessed to everybody else who's not racist. And just a sidebar, for all the white people in these comment sections, you have been a blessing. And the fact that you know and you understand and you can identify that these videos are not about you says that we have come a long way as a people. And it's up to you guys to really drive this message home to your fellow kinfolk, because nothing I said is not factual, and people get their feelings hurt because they've been sold this lie for so long that, like I said, you guys are here and we're down here, and anything that's said to white people that they don't like, they call it racist. And I'm like, it's not racist. Nothing I said is racist. It's just facts. Ciao.
Let's start by talking about black fatigue, because that's not just a hashtag, that's a generations of emotional weight. The term comes from the real lived experiences. It describes the mental, the physical and emotional exhaustion black people go through in a system built to disadvantage them. The term was formalized by Mary Frances Winters in her book Black Fatigue, but the feelings goes all the way back to slavery. Imagine your ancestors being forced to work in the fields, raise families in fear, have no rights, and then fast forward 400 years and you still being told your struggles aren't real. That's fatigue. But here is where the gaslight comes in. Now, we're seeing white people trying to co-opt the term, talking about their own black fatigue. Like, they are tired of hearing about racism, tired of being called out, tired of seeing black people speak up. That ain't fatigue, that's fragility. And it's been rebranded as victimhood. Let's get clear on the history. Slavery wasn't just labor, it was generational trauma. Jim Crow laws weren't just unfair, They were a legal blueprint for apartheid. Redefining didn't just deny housing, it restored family wealth and land. Quintuple wasn't about safety. It was designed to destroy black leadership. All of these systems worked together to keep black people at the bottom while rewarding whiteness in housing, jobs, healthcare, media, and education. That's why when a palm card person says that black people can talk about problems, but palm card people can't, it's a fast comparison. One group is talking about their own trauma, and the other side is trying to control the narrative. That's not just the same thing. Let's talk about this claim that black people has intellectual freedom and palm card people don't. That's weird. If you look at the US, who owns the media? Who funds the think tanks? Who controls books in schools and universities? Black people don't own CNN. They don't run Fox News. They are not CEOs of Disney and Warner Bros. So how can you claim that black people have the power to silence white voices when the people in power has always been white? What's really happening is this. Black folks are finally speaking up, and some people cannot handle it. For centuries, black culture has been copied, commercialized, and controlled. Palm card people mocked their hair, then sold wigs with the same styles. They criminalized our music, then made billions of it. They broke up families during slavery, and now blaming black folks for single-parent homes. It's like someone robbed your house, took your stuff, wore your clothes, and then get mad that you're talking about it. That's what we are seeing now on TikTok, on Twitter, and in real life. Black people are saying no more. And instead of listening, some folks are playing the victim. Let's talk about crime statistics for a second. When they throw out numbers, 13% commit 50% of crimes. They never ask why those crimes happen. But when white folks are serial killers, school shooters, and bombing bridges, suddenly it's a mental health. When it's a black suspect, it's card culture. When it's a white suspect, it's card crisis. That double standard is exhausting. You've had it in those TikToks. Black people are done playing nice with lies. They have tried educating, they have marched, they have explained. But the truth is, they're not here to keep proving their humanity. That's a burden no group should have to carry. They're not trying to be better than anyone. They are trying to be free. Free from stereotypes, free from violence, free from being the scapegoats for the system they didn't build. Black Americans are the heartbeat of the US. They have built it. They have protected it. They have enriched its culture. Yet they are the ones who are told to calm down, be nicer, stop complaining. Nah, the chapter is closed. Now listen. Not all palm card people are enemies, let's be clear. They are white allies who do the work, who stand up, you've seen them in those videos, who challenge racism even in their own families, and they are appreciated. But this video isn't about palm card people's feelings, it's about black people's truth, and our right to say it without being told to shut up or to tone it down. The real problem isn't black people are too loud. The real problem is that the truth is too loud. And some folks don't just want to hear it. To every black person watching this, stay loud, stay smart, stay rooted. You're not imagining the gaslight. You're not being too sensitive. You are responding to the system that was designed to wear you out. But here is the good news. They are out of tricks and black folks are out of patience. Let the truth speak. If you have enjoyed watching the video, please make sure you share me your ideas down there in the comment section. Let's have a discussion about this topic. And those viewers who have not yet subscribed, please make sure you smash that subscribe button so that you can join our community. And that was Mr. TA signing off. Ciao.